Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome Hollywood After Dark. Today, of course, is the 5th of January, 2022. We are on Insurrection Eve. If this was a political podcast, this is all I'd be talking about, but no, it's not. It's a movie podcast where today, big news is breaking. Viacom, WarnerMedia looking to sell CW. Ooh, that's a big thing. That and a whole lot more. Why don't we dive into the show? Let's go. Well, okay, that whole thing was a little bit weird. Sorry for the quick glitch out there. It glitched on my end, as sometimes StreamYard, is prone to do, because it's StreamYard, and I swear it just hates it when I try to go live. At the same time, other people are live right now, obviously. YouTube is a vast place full of a lot of different opinions and different ideologies and different ideas, with people talking at such a fast rate that 500 hours of content is uploaded every single minute, and YouTube has in fact had to resort to the public, or to the almost like the creation and employ of a bunch of algorithmic bots in order to be able to control it all. Darcipio right off the bat says, I bet Mr. Jarbato won't have time to talk Boba Fett because he'll go right into his regular rabbit holes. Actually, I don't really have any rabbit holes to go down tonight, to be honest with you. I really don't have much of a rabbit hole to go down. Tonight's kind of a bit of an off day, just in general. Like just a bit of an off day. It's I'll tell you guys this. So the Snyder Cut situation has had really interesting personal costs to me, and I've lost friends unwillingly and willingly. You know what I mean? Like, because of my opinions and because of my stances on it. And this goes back goddamn nearly 2 years. And that's why it's kind of a weird thing where it's like, it's just a mess. It's what it really boils down to, is it's an absolute mess. And I think, as I've been very open about my opinion on this, why I believe that there are people out there that proliferate off of its continuance because they want to make money and have standing, rather than coming out and saying what I believe is, the most Occam's razor approach to everything. I don't want to be what's known as a reverse gatekeeper, which is it's my way or the highway, and look, I like to debate. I like to debate facts. You can call me a bit of a debate bro if you want. That's fine. I'll accept that title. But I like there to be facts. And the argument is always facts versus emotion. And that's a very poor argument to have, because it's never productive. And all it does is it just ends up damaging friendships as time goes on. And the last couple of weeks has kind of done that quite a bit. In fact, I had to kind of tell somebody today, actually not just one person, I think it was quite a few people I actually just outright distance myself from, that are part of the pro Snyder fandom. Not because I have anything against them on a personal level. It's just that is their addiction, and I just don't want to see it. And that's kind of where I'm at with it. Unfortunately, it sucks because I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that at all, but it is where it is. We got Dat Dude Vince right off the back with a $2 super chat. Thank you very much, buddy. Saying here, no matter who owns the CW, it will suck. Well, I kind of agree with you on that one. I remember when it was the WB network, right? When it was WB TV and they had the frog, and the frog was all like, hello, my baby. Hello, my darling. Hello, my ragtime gal, right? The worst fucking Looney Tunes comic of all times. I hate that singing frog cartoon. It is the literal worst thing to ever come out of Looney Tunes, is that particular thing. And that was their motto for the old WB TV, but they had some good shows. There was the Starship Troopers animated series. There was Pokemon. There was Batman Beyond. There was Unhappily Ever After, which was very much a knockoff of Married with Children. And a bunch of other stuff was on there back in the day. I think Charmed was on there, like before Charmed went to shit. And and there was some good stuff. And nowadays, what do you get when you turn in the CW? It's all like, this week on the CW, Riverdale, Archie discovers that he's pansexual and attracted to a zombie, a literal zombie. Is he going to be able to go all the way, or will Veronica step in and stop him with her smoldering eyes? All the while, Jughead has a crippling meth addiction, and he masturbates to hentai. CW's Riverdale. It's weird shit like that, guys. It's weird shit like that. Obviously, a lot of the DC stuff I think is also going to have a big reason why things are going to probably be going away. I think they're moving away from it, as a result of all that. So yeah, anyway, let us take a quick look here at the chat. Lay and Deli says, Matt, I love going back and forth with you on Twitter. I enjoy it. I'll always be one of your fans. I literally watch you since 2018. I appreciate that, man. Look, you and I go back and forth on it. It's not that I'm mad at you. I get frustrated because it's not just you. It's like I know are joking. And there's other people that are not joking. And I deal with a lot of them. And it's like, there's an article that the New York Post put up today that, we'll just start with the article from the New York Post, because I was going to save it till the end, but it's kind of interesting because I think it kind of ties in, not just with like fandoms online, but just kind of like in general. And it says here that a new study says that celebrity obsessed people are less intelligent. That is a bold statement, to say the very, very least. It's a bold statement to make this claim here that celebrity obsessed people are less intelligent. But I do think that there are a lot of celebrity obsessed people who very much just put everything on that particular person. They put everything on that particular celebrity. They wrap their entire identity around who that celebrity is, because that is who they want to be. That is who they want to, that's how they envision their lives, things along those lines. And of course, this is one of those weird things where it gets crazy. Toronto here says, I can't believe you lost friends over a fucking movie. Yeah, man. Well, okay. So like the first friend was Louis Lecca. And I talked to him like every fucking day. And the biggest issue with Louis was that he chose Andy Signore. And when I called Andy out privately, and then Andy lost his shit, Louis chose Andy. And that a lot of it had to do with like the Snyder Cut stuff at first as well. And that might be one of the reasons why I went as hard as I did at Andy and Jody back in the day. I mean, they were absolutely wrong, but I had a bit of a bone to pick, and that's what led Andy Signore to threatening to blackmail me. And also that's what led Jody to threaten to blackmail Max. And, nothing happened as a result of actual threats of blackmail, which I thought was the most interesting thing, where you have two grown ass men that are like, I'm going to like dig up dirt on this guy. And I'm going to, and it's like, no one fucking cared. Not a single person gave a shit, but it is what it is on that one there. I did say goodbye today to Mikey Sutton, actually, and that was hard to do, but that was there's a solid reason for that, and I'm just that's kind of where I'm at for now. So anyway, let's just get to that there. H Bars, I do see your super chat. We'll get it here towards the or after the section. So according to the New York Post here, it says like, obsessed with Kim Kardashian's butt, can't get enough, Bennifer getting back together, chances are you're an idiot. At least according to Hungarian academics. Oh, those pesky Hungarians. The new research deemed people obsessed with Hollywood gossip and A-list celebrities to be not that smart, which will surely come as a blow to those who love poring over the pages of tabloid magazines and tuning into reality TV. And it's not just that. It is not just that. It has everything to do with, it's not just like celebrity. It's like literally fandoms. It's literally like, look at the Snyder Cut situation, right? I mean, look at how obsessed people are. And no matter what you say to them, like you present actual quotes of what have been said, and their response is, nuh-uh. Like what really got me today was I got into it with Dave the Film Junkie, because I made a joke on Twitter about like, oh, who are Grace Randolph's sources? And I posted, that alarming image of Grace and Deborah and Zach from the Army of the Dead event in New York back in May of last year. And like Nicotina got real mad at me for it. And then Dave the Film Junkie chimed in and he's like, oh, I know it's not the Snyders. I'm like, oh, okay, well then who is it? And he's like, oh, I don't really know. And we've talked about that before, where people say things along the lines of like, you don't know what I know. And then they try to downplay that when you're like, well, then what the fuck do you know? Like, tell me privately. I don't give a shit, but tell me privately. So then you can change my mind. Like if you know something, and here's the thing, I might be a person who sits there and goes, you know what? I don't think that we're going to see the Snyderverse continue. The cards don't read that way for me right now. And then I get this from other people that you don't know what I know. And I look at who they talk to and I'm like, okay, well, clearly then they have more sources than I do. Cool. You fill me in privately, change my mind. I won't divulge it, but change my mind on this one. If I'm such a vocal opponent and clearly you care enough to respond, then change my mind. Because I would do the same thing to you. If you were asking for me to change your mind on something, that's what I would do. And it gets met back with, no, I'm just fucking around. I don't know, it's like, that is so fucking annoying because it's like, as I point out, I'm a data-driven individual. I like to read stuff. I like to look at things. I pay attention. I'm an intelligent individual. And it's not that I like to treat people with lack of intelligence, but it's like, let me present to you the data. And it's always met with like that, nuh-uh, you're just wrong. And it drives me up the fucking wall because it's like, it's just people who shift goalposts, who literally do everything that they can to get around the presented question, right? Especially when it comes to Snyder. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that when you look at what was, okay, so let's go back to 2017 when this whole thing started. What was? The movie was filmed. It just needed to be finished. The cut ultimately existed. It just wasn't done. So what were we met with? Well, the cut doesn't exist. It's never going to happen, yada, 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 yada. All many years of that. Then, of course, it turns out that it was going to happen, and that's not because of the fan movement. Inherently, it did shine a spotlight on it, but it was not the main reason for it. It was a useful partner for the marketing of the company or of the project. But if you really look at it, what it was is that when Netflix approached Warner Brothers about acquiring the rights to Army of the Dead, a project Zack Snyder wrote under contract for Warner Brothers back in 2009, they had also inquired about purchasing the rights to the Snyder Cut, and that's one of the reasons why that piqued off a lot of the interest at the high end of the company going, okay, wait, now there's an interest from our competitor. Then with WarnerMedia being a creation from the AT&T purchase of Time Warner in 2018, they decided, well, let's get in on the streaming game. We already have HBO. Let's create HBO Max. We need something to kick it off. We need something that we can invest money into that is effectively already done, that will not need to be filmed during a global pandemic where over 3,000 people were dying a day. Oh, yeah, we can invest $70 million into this whole thing and see how it's going to play out. Sure. And that's what they did. But it was always meant to be a way to push the subscribers for HBO Max. And as I'll show you guys later on, and Jason Keelar talked about this today, actually gave a whole Twitter thread on it. It's a very interesting approach to the situation at hand, because when you start looking at the chain of events, at the timeline of events, and then match that with things Zach has said, they don't want me anymore, they're moving on. You know what, like everything else that he has alluded to, it starts to really kind of paint this picture of what's happening. And you can really see the trajectory of things. And this isn't like some far out there situation. This isn't like me reading tea leaves or tarot reading in the case of Midnight's Edge fan favorite Cameron fucking Pasha. All right. Talking about remote viewing into Kathleen Kennedy's office and shit. You know, the same people Mikey Sutton was on with today and providing. Again, that's a whole other fucking argument there. But what you've got is all this data that suggests this is where things are going. And then all of that just gets fucking ignored by people who are literally obsessed with things that Zack Snyder says or that people involved. Even though Ben Affleck is like, I'm not doing this shit anymore. That doesn't matter. That doesn't matter to them. None of it matters. Zack is like, the Snyderverse means original content that I'm doing. It doesn't matter. It never changes because people get obsessed with that, which is why I think in an argument like this, in a situation like this, what you're dealing with is a reality. It's a very interesting parasocial relationship where people become so obsessed that they start very much looking away from logic and facts and the Occam's razor of a situation in order to grip onto something that confirms what they believe, their confirmation bias, their echo chamber. This at this point is very much becoming a religion or a cult, if that's how you want to view it. But getting back to the study here, the study published in BMC Psychology late last year asserts that there is a direct association between celebrity worship and poor performance on cognitive tests, measuring both literacy and numeracy. Again, when you're talking about like cognitive abilities and the understanding of the world around us, you can start to really kind of think, how did January 6th happen? I mean, I'm going to tie it back into what happened a year ago tomorrow. And you look at it from that perspective and you go, oh, okay. You can kind of maybe see that a whole bunch of passionate yet ill-informed people on the internet really started to believe some of the far out there things that are being presented to them by people who probably actually don't believe it, but know that they can bilk a quick buck off of you. So the study asked 1,763 Hungarian adults to undertake a 30-word vocabulary test and digit symbol substitution test before completing a celebrity aptitude scale questionnaire to determine their levels of interest in famous people. The participants had to answer yes or no to a series of statements on the celebrity attitude scale, including, I often feel compelled to learn the personal habits of my favorite celebrity, and I am obsessed by details of my favorite celebrity's life. Another yes or no statement read, if I were lucky enough to meet my favorite celebrity and she asked me to do something illegal as a favor, I would probably do it. And that very much ties in, I believe, with what we have seen coming out of certain fandoms there. Researchers found that high scores on the celebrity aptitude scale correlated with lower performance on 2 cognitive ability tests. Participants were also asked about their income, material wealth, and levels of education in order to gain the most detailed picture possible. And yeah, that kind of makes sense. However, researchers were unable to determine whether celebrity obsessives perform poorly on cognitive tests because they use their brain power thinking about A-listers, or whether they were fixated on Hollywood gossip because they were already less intelligent to begin with. And I don't want to sit there and say people are generally less intelligent overall. I think people are pretty intelligent, in most situations. But what we see here is when it comes to this particular subject, a lot of what we get are people out there who very, very, very much that have very much like given it all, given it all. And it's very fascinating to look at this kind of stuff from a psychological perspective, because I do feel that the lockdown, I do feel that the very pervasive obsessiveness that comes around anything relating to Warner's, especially out of Zack Snyder, is a problem. I saw a guy today that was like, boycott Warner Brothers, January 14th, we're going hard, and like people are like, yeah, fucking get it trending. And it's like, dude, the fuck, man, like, you're not, like, the fuck is wrong with you? I guarantee you, if tomorrow they said, hey, listen, guys, in 2024, Zack Snyder's Justice League Dose is going to be coming out, you would have an HBO Max subscription within 20 minutes of that fucking thing dropping, and you'd be dropping to your knees and asking Jason Kilar to just gently tap you on the head when he's going to come. Like, that is how it is. And that is very frustrating. But joining me to give their opinion, obviously, is my friend, your friend, Caden. What's up, Caden?
What's up?
Not too much, man. Have you been following this particular story at all?
I saw people quote tweeting it, retweeting it, and I didn't have a chance to read it, but I kind of understand what people were talking about when they're talking about the quote tweets. Like, they were summarizing, I kind of understand what they're talking about. And yeah, you can kind of see that there's some people like this, like the title says, that celebrity obsessed people, like people who make their whole lives surrounding celebrities, or like whatever, obsessed with one or two or three, whatever it may be, seem or are less intelligent than a normal human being, whatever, or what's not the word normal, but not
yeah, normal. I know.
No,
careful, Max is gonna get real mad.
Oh my god.
Yeah, no. I know what you mean on that one. And it's definitely, I get you. And the thing is, I don't want to call people unintelligent or that they are, or
no.
I mean, like,
dumb,
it's no one's dumb. People are
but
passionate, and I
there's like
think
a level of intelligence that people have, and the people like celebrity obsessed or like famous people obsessed people are less intelligent than your average human or your average person who isn't as obsessed with these people.
well
Average is
because
the word I was looking
a
for,
lot
not
of it though
normal.
is also how much exposure you get. That's
Yeah,
another factor of it as well, right? There's a reason why the whole point the thing there was like answer these questions about these celebrities. And now give me what is like, what is 8 times 7? And you're like, I can't tell you that one, but I can tell you how big Kim Kardashian's ass is,
right, right,
and so it's
exactly.
an issue. By the way, 8
Or I
times
can tell
7
you
is
how big
56.
how big Brad Pitt's salary is for Bullet Trains. Like what?
Yeah, like that's not
Like
important information, but
that's
somehow we've
not
made it important information.
right.
Or, yeah, I mean, all of this, like we a lot of people are very data driven like I am, but we process it in a different way. And a
Yeah,
lot of people do look for their own confirmation bias. And I'm not going to sit there and say that I never do, because I do, in certain areas I will. But it's also like, but it's also kind of good to look at things as objectively as you can. And I think nowadays people are caught up on the what if based upon what happened rather than anything else, especially in regards to this Snyder fandom. I mean, look, Star Wars fans, I don't want anyone to be a gatekeeper, but I mean, I've been literally getting gate kept like for like the last couple of weeks because I've been against like,
I
I'm like
mean, I
the merge
think
rank
I
gonna do
think
shit.
I think the fandom menace is the biggest group of people that you can just do a study on based off of this article. Because
Yeah.
look
Oh
how
no, the fandom menace
like
is massive. Oh my God, they're so
yeah,
it like
like you
that's
can
the whole.
just do
Yeah.
this study, like this article study on them, and you can tell the level of intelligency and the level of how many people are that intelligent just based off that group. And then
Well,
you'd be like,
yeah, because how
okay,
many people if they go against what Nerdrotic says? Have they been
right,
ousted? How many
right,
people out there are afraid to kind of give their opinion because they don't want to be dogpiled, and they understand
right,
the hierarchy of the fandom. And they understand who is the loudest voice is the one that can control the narrative. And the thing is, in regards to like the fandom menace, no matter how much they try to rebrand, it's never going to happen. There's a
no, it's
pyramid
not.
with like the Friday Night Tights guys at the top, and then it trickles down from there. With the Snyder Cut,
Right.
there's no real like pyramid. You have your
It's
influencers.
more
I
of a
wouldn't call anyone a
circle.
leader.
It's it's more of
Yeah,
like a
to an
circle or an
extent,
oval. It's like
kind
something
of,
like that.
and
Or
it's not that one person really kind of holds the cards, but on social
no.
media though, what you have is you have your very vocal individuals who are the ones who absolutely will will like they use it as a way to, like, I think, artificially inflate the trending numbers, and they use that as an argument for, oh, look and see what we've done. But if you go and you look at some of those counts, they're brand new, and they only follow like the same couple people, and so it's a lot of it feels artificially created. And that's one of the problems with social media, at least with Twitter, is that anyone can create an account on Twitter. It doesn't fucking matter. Anyone can create an account in 5 minutes and then follow who you want to follow and then add to the conversation. And there's really like nary a look at that in regards to IP. In some cases, if there's like, a lot of IP changes or whatever, like they'll kind of check on, but it all depends on what you do with those accounts right away. But a lot of
Right.
people very much do that kind of stuff. Dapaway here says, my brother, who didn't even like Star Wars until 2 years ago, is starting to gatekeep me, who's loved Star Wars all my life, because I defend the sequel trilogy. I mean, like, dude, for one, I love like debating people on the sequel trilogy, but I'm never going to sit there and say, fuck you
can't
for
like
liking The
Star
Last
Wars.
Jedi.
Right.
Like,
Exactly.
I will raise my eyebrow and just go, why?
Exactly.
But
I'm
at the same time,
like
I've said,
I
hold
want
on.
like I'm playing the oh sorry.
Oh no, I'm just saying I've wanted people to like red pill me on The Last Jedi, to
Right.
like to sell me on it in the way that why they like it so much. Like, explain to me, because I just get frustrated.
For me, I'm in the middle ground with it. I'm like, I don't like it as a Star Wars movie, but I like it as a normal film.
It
Like
was
as
it
a
was
normal
well, yeah, it
sci-fi
was.
film, it's really good. But as a Star Wars film, it lacks in there. It's like it's not really that anymore. Like you just took some things and you did that, and you're just like, okay,
It's a well-made movie. I granted
it's a
that
well-made
100%.
movie.
It's a
It's a
well-made
very
movie.
well.
Raya here says that Paris social relationships feel like they've gone up since the pandemic started, or maybe it's because of the increase of social media outlets we have to constantly be connected to them on. Yeah, I mean that's the big thing too. So it's not always like, I mean, look at my banner underneath, right? Look at my banner underneath. Oh, want to
Right.
follow me on Twitter? Adam Jarbo. Instagram at Real Matt Jarbo. Same as TikTok. You know, I'm on Facebook. It's Facebook groups /3 Buck Theater, which I don't use as often as I maybe should. And there's like, so right there, I'm giving you 4 ways on top of my YouTube channel to be able to like stay in contact with me. And that's asking a lot out of a person. And so you have to be like really dedicated in order to follow me on all those platforms.
Right.
The
Like
problem
I was
also is like, I'm not able to then use those platforms all the time for the same content. You
yeah.
know, so it's kind of like it's very difficult. And I have a Discord too, which I really should start directing more people towards the Discord because I actually do go on there every day.
Like I was just thinking about this like the other night. I was just like thinking like pretty much all my friends like in the past 2 years like have been based off of social media, like and YouTube, you know?
Yeah.
Like that's how I met my group of friends and it's like one of those things I'm like if I were to ever get rid of my social media, I can't because that's my only way to communicate with my friends, you know? Or
Well, you
like if
see, well, yeah.
Discord and text is the other way, but like again, there's no other way other than that. So it's like everything is through my phone or my computer.
Yeah. It's like when I moved to LA in 2010, you know, Facebook and Twitter were the two primaries. LinkedIn was the other one. There was so many people that were like, "Have you gotten into LinkedIn? It's the
LinkedIn.
best social media networking platform." I'm all like, "My jobs are worked at movie theater. Like, I don't. What am I gonna do on LinkedIn?" And they're like,
Like
"No, but you can like, you know, you can meet people." And the very first like party I went to in LA was in West Hollywood, and like I met the guy who created the Final Destination franchise, and Jeffrey Reddick is his name, and we're still friends on Facebook.
wow.
He's a really nice guy, you know. And like I met him at that party, and I felt, oh my god, wow, like this is just it's happening, you know. And now again, that
Right.
was like Twitter and Facebook and shit. I haven't, well, like Jeffrey Reddick and I are still friends on Facebook. I haven't talked to him in fucking years. I haven't responded to a
Right.
post.
It's like it's been
I'm
like 6 years since I last like commented on his
yeah,
Facebook post.
you
And
know,
it's
and so
been 12 years since we've actually messaged each other. So
yeah,
like
so it's kind of like that. But now I get it. Like I totally understand where we
right.
are at, you know, where social media is right now. A lot of my friends are on social media.
Yeah.
And then even just before, you know, going live, I had to message a friend, an IRL friend in San Diego through Facebook to go like, "Hey, listen, so this memorial coming up for my friend who passed away back in November,
Yeah.
you know, you know, can I crash on your guys' couch and shit?" And you know, and that's like
Right.
again, like it's not text messaging or whatever. That's all through Facebook Messenger. So we are very
Right.
connected these days in how we communicate. But the problem though is the obsessiveness of what we do online. I mean, there's a guy, he comes in here all the time, and I'm not knocking him, but you guys have seen him, Andrew Casali. Andrew Casali is like flat out Tobey Maguire obsessed. And
Yeah.
you know what? Fine, 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 fine.
Yeah.
But Andrew is like also super fucking obsessed with Tobey Maguire. And there are times when that kind of goes to the level of, all right, homie, can
Yeah.
you calm the fuck down.
Exactly.
You know, like just chill out, go smoke a bowl, jerk off a little bit, fucking, you know,
Do
relax, dude.
something
Can you put on the
to
first
relax.
Spider-Man movie? Can I send you a pirated copy of No Way Home? Like, how are we going to make this thing work? But it's no, but it's like the thing is you get people that are that kind of obsessed because they are terminally online. And a lot of people nowadays, because of the pandemic in the last couple of years, are terminally online. And they have found a social structure, you could argue, in regards to all this. And I think that's the biggest problem. H Parts here says Andrew would kill his dad to meet Toby. Oof. Oof. No, I don't know if I'd go
I
that
don't
far.
I
Uh
wouldn't go that far, but I think
yeah.
he will definitely punch his dad. It's like he'd be like, "I'm going to meet Toby," punch
Yeah.
him, and then be like, and then
Well,
start running.
so yeah, anyway, I do want to dive into the Jason Keelar stuff. But a couple super chats get to here. H Bart's here for $5, buddy. Thank you. Says Book of Boba Fett episode 2 was great. They should have had both episodes out on the same night. I actually agree
I
with you on that.
agree. I agree that they
I
should have.
really feel they should have done that. Yeah.
Yeah, because like I was like when I saw, before, like obviously this time they didn't have like the picture and the little like one sentence or two sentence little description. So it was like, okay. And I saw the runtime. It was like 56 minutes or 59. I was like, something like that. I was like, are you serious? Like, we could have had both of these things on the same night. And then
They should
watching
have,
this,
yeah.
I'm like, yeah, this should have been like an hour and 30 minute, like 2 episodes one night for an hour and 30 minutes.
It
Because
only would have been like I think it only would have been around like 95 minutes or something without any
yeah,
credits.
yeah,
They should have done that. Because I thought last
or
night, I thought I didn't even know how long last night was. I was bracing for 30 minutes. I was happy with 44.
yeah.
I oh wow, and then I really liked the episode. The train robbery stuff was fantastic. That was old school
The funny
Western.
thing is, this episode actually fed me with like good speculations to actually speculate on, and with cameos. Like, we had three big cameos from, like, a cameo from the OG trilogy, a cameo from the comics, and a cameo from uh the animated stuff. So it was like, boom, you gave me all three things that
Wait, who
you
was from
could
the
have
OG
given me
trilogy?
one. The couple in the bar.
Oh, right,
They
right, right.
are,
Well, they're from a
yeah,
deleted scene. They're from a
yeah, they're
deleted
from a
scene, but
deleted
yeah,
scene,
the Tosh.
but
Well,
they're
the fact that they went to Toshi Station and they didn't
yeah,
and like
right,
that was pretty cool. I love that scene,
right.
by the way.
That was such a
That was
badass scene.
such an opener to like Terminator 2 when he went in there.
Yeah.
He beat that guy with a rifle and the rifle broke,
Yes.
and then
Yes.
he pulled out the rappy stick and just
He
fucked
was
them
like,
all up.
I was just like, and I love that they're really going into Tusken Raiders like culture.
Yeah.
God,
I really dug the episode, and
the
people out there
pipes,
like,
the
I said
pipes.
on Twitter today that it was great, and then one guy's like, it wasn't that great. I'm like, yeah, you hate everything. Like, this guy hates
Yeah.
everything. I'm like, I don't know how you can not watch an episode. Like, just that one bit where like I think it's like the chief's wife, when she like pokes her head up on the train, and
Yeah.
like, because there's like the three guys that are shooting the guns, and she pokes her head up, and then she just looks and
Yep.
sees Boba, and then drops back down. It just felt like I just really like the way like that played out. There was a lot of great cinematography in the episode.
Yeah.
They fucked up some banthas, which I was really surprised with. That
I
because
think
remember, like
that
they fucked up
the girl
banthas
who
in the
plays
Mandalorian too.
yeah, the girl who plays the chief's wife and like basically the trainer, I think she was one of the Themyscirians in Justice League, I believe.
Okay,
Yeah.
that was cool. I mean,
Not
yeah. Either
yeah.
way, I really enjoy. I enjoyed the
Yeah.
episode quite a bit. I felt like the fact that we got the other cameos. I had to go look up that one because I had seen images of that one before, and
I
I was
I
had to go
remember
read up
seeing
on
a
them.
report on, like, I remember seeing an exclusive on them, like, being in this, and I was either it was like this or Mando season 3, but I wasn't positive on it. And it was like, oh, it's gonna be in both this and the Mando season. I was like, okay, at least they got one part right. Um, and I was like, okay, Mando season 3 is coming out soon, so maybe they're in that as well. Who knows? But yeah, and then one other cameo with the train and stuff. That whole group of people is a big deal because it kind of furthers that whole thing of Crimson Dawn.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, and then there was a report today that popped up saying that a certain actor was gonna be coming in, and we'd already kind of talked about that before. I don't want to spoil it for people who don't know about it.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, and I do want to go further. I do want to rewatch the episode, and then I want to give my thoughts on it in a separate video. Overall, I really liked it. I thought it was a lot better than the first episode, and it just kind of felt like more getting more of Boba and then getting more of the Tuskens. And honestly,
Yeah.
like, you don't even need to give me like the main prime timeline. I prefer kind of like the flashback stuff, but I also want to get the plot moving. That's my only complaint. It's like
Yeah.
we're 2 episodes in out of 7 or 8, and it's
Yeah,
like,
7.
okay, we've got like a month left to
I
go
think
roughly.
I think next week might be the last episode of the Tusken Raiders stuff.
I hope so, because they're gonna have to kick off the back half and really open up the action. But I felt that they brought it really well with this episode. I thought it was pretty good. But thank you for that, H Barts. Moving on, Gaily Productions here says, I've grown sour of all fandoms. It's yeah. I mean, I still love Star Wars, man, but it's like there's a lot of gatekeeping there. There's a lot of gatekeeping in Star Trek. And I feel like a lot of the online fandom stuff nowadays is very much just, it's all kind of based around negativity. Even look at Harry Potter, man. It's like, like there are some characterizations of some of those characters from the books that you're like, you kind of can raise a side eye to, like the werewolves are kind of described as being like, they have AIDS is basically it. That's kind of the whole point of the werewolf, like that's how JK had kind of approached it. And then you look at like the whole thing with like the goblins running the banks and the way the way that they were presented in the movie made a lot of people, Jon Stewart came out and said that was an anti-Semitic representation, but not that he viewed JK Rowling as being anti-Semitic, so there's a lot of like attacking the creator at the moment, even though, like this franchise is 20 years old, but it just looks like people are looking for something to hate on it with now that it's okay to hate it, I guess. I don't know. It goes through these cycles. And that makes it difficult to want to be involved in anything like this anymore, because you're like, why? I'd rather, like, am I spending less time watching things or more time bitching about things? And I mean, I'm definitely doing more of the latter. Like, that's another reason why I just cut ties today with people, and everything. So, H-Bars here says, I can't believe the Snyder Cut has ruined friendships. It's a movie. It's not even necessarily that it's the movie. It's in the case of Lewis, like Lewis believed, Lewis was always against the concept of the Snyder Cut. Like, he never believed that it was a real thing. And when it started kind of coming out that it was maybe going to be, be happening, he was trying to amend it a little bit, and it was causing a bit of frustration between us. But really what happened was he just started backing Andy and Andy's abhorrent behavior. And, I could have probably handled that a little bit better on my end of it. But again, like, my beef was with Andy, not with Lewis, but Lewis made that choice and shit. And that's unfortunate, because I miss the guy. Like, I give him a little bit of shit on Twitter every once in a while, but I do miss him and stuff like that. But I feel he made his choice, and that's fine. In the case of, like the people today, like a lot of the primary, like, main people on Twitter, I just unfollowed. It's like, who was it? Like, Nicotina, Zeverfet, Film Junkie, Wonder Meg, a lot of that group of people I unfollowed. And it's not against anything with them personally. I have no issue with them on a personal level, but you can tell where their reality lies. And it's either I mute them or I just move on. And I would just rather move on. I would just rather be, okay, cool, let's just go on from here. That way, like, if I talk a little bit of crap, if I joke around, it's not going to offend your sensibilities. And considering that I'm already like the fucking enemy number one with certain things in regards to like certain pockets of people within the Snyder fandom, because I just have a difference of opinion. Again, it's that reverse gatekeeping thing, right? It's the othering of me because I don't agree with them. That's what it boils down to. And that's the problem. And everything. And maybe, I could handle things a little bit differently. Me being frustrated with Mikey Sutton going on Midnight's Edge, has a lot to do with the fact that, like, they peddle in fake news. And if we're meant to trust Mikey, if we're meant to trust these people who are scoopers, because their word is all we have, that's all we have. And to go on and be jovial for a couple hours, and feed into the bullshit that I know how he really feels about them, and to go on there, it's like, yeah, man, like, that's not nothing I can get my hands behind. That's not nothing I get behind, because right. At this point, the way I look at it is, I'm like, you're selling out. All right. And I've already found one crack in an article that, as far as I know, has not been repaired yet. And I looked yesterday, that was outright taken out of context. There's no way you could not know what was being said by putting this quote in. And then I'm just like, you know what? Like, I can't, it just frustrates me too much. And it's like, again, you can have whatever opinion you want, but like, you can be a fucking scooper, dude. You can tell me that we're going to get like a Batman movie where he like shits out fucking sherbet, like, fine. I may not believe it till I see it, but it's like, don't purposefully misquote somebody in order to feed an agenda. That's my whole point, is like, you can do this, and you can do it like honorably, and you can do it with integrity. That's where I'm at. For me, it's really about integrity. And I think a lot of people have forgotten what integrity is. And it's not that I'm perfect. I make mistakes all the time, but it's like, it's trying to understand being integral, or having having integrity and everything else. And that's why I'm so hardcore about it, because 3 years ago, my shit happened and I lied and I lost trust with people and my integrity was damaged. So do I come at this like a born again Christian? Maybe, but I try to be as lenient as I can until I feel it's like, now you're just bullshitting. And I don't like bullshitters, because I'm very passionate about movies. I'm very passionate about this stuff. And if you're lying to me, if you are deceiving me, if you are deceiving others, then you are literally trying to hurt things I care about. And I'm just not going to stand back and not say anything, because I think that's the biggest fucking problem, is that so many of us out there know we're being bullshitted, but we're just too afraid to say something because we don't want to deal with the fucking backlash. And I think you have too many people whose egos are wrapped up in their shit, so they have to keep bullshitting in order to keep the status fucking quo. That's where I'm at with it. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to distance myself from it because I just do not want to fucking deal with it anymore. Anyway, this is not a pity party. I apologize. Gailey here says, I'm sorry you Mikey broke up today, man. Look, I already kind of addressed that shit, but I mean, I wish him the best. I can't be involved in that shit. Reed here, thank you, buddy, says it was announced today that the Beatles rooftop concert is going to be in IMAX theaters with the Q&A with Peter Jackson as well. I can't wait. That sounds pretty cool. I'm not a big Beatles fan. Like, I like the Beatles. I'm just not a big Beatles fan. And as a result of that, I don't think I'll go see it. My dad might, though. I might take my dad to go see that one. I'll have to find out when that's going to be in IMAX. His birthday was 2 days ago. We got him a gift, but we haven't given it to him yet. But I need to find out when that's coming to IMAX, and I'll take him to go see it. And then Gailey here says, "Are you and Dave good?" I mean, we're as fine as we can be. We're just as fine as we can be on this one. So there's that. All right. Okay. There's a couple super chats here. I just want to make sure I caught up on these things so I don't miss anybody. That was a long-winded rant. But that was just my thoughts on everything. All right, cool. So, let's take a quick look here at the, what Keelar was saying today. Cause this guy, he's losing his job over this shit, right? Like, Keelar is losing his job over the merger. And a lot of people are going to pin what they deem to be the failure of 2020 on Keelar. And I don't think that's entirely fair. I don't think that's entirely fair. I think Keelar made a very difficult choice that he had to make. And as a result of that, I think he's going to, I think he's going to be remembered differently in a couple of years, to be fair. So he says here, today we shared news that HBO Max and HBO, see, and this is what you got to remember. It's both of them are combined. It's not just HBO Max, but both of them are combined. Ended 2021 with approximately 73.8 million subs across the globe. That's up 4.4 million over Q3. This is well beyond the best laid plans we had at the beginning of 2021. I'm including the email I sent to the team, highlights in a Twitter thread here. So he's being upfront with the data, and I'm very happy about that. So it says here, for context, the first projection shared in October 2019 for HBO Max and HBO was to have between 75 and 90 million subs by the end of 2025. We are almost a full 4 years ahead of that schedule / projection. That's insane. That's Disney Plus levels of insane.
That's good too.
Oh, it's fantastic. It's absolutely fantastic on that stuff. I'm going to be very interested to see again how this plays out. Because look, the thing is, his role is going to be rendered moot once the merger takes place. But he's a talent. He's very much a talent, and he ran the company to, I think he should be given a lot of praise for what he's done, and I hope he lands on his feet. Now, it goes on to say here, 21 has been a remarkable year for HBO Max in that we also exceeded both sets of updated subscriber guidance from earlier in 2021. Additional context that in the first 3 quarters of 2021, we added 3 million plus more subs in the US than Netflix added to US plus Canada in the same time frame. Keep in mind, there's only 37 million people in Canada. There are more people in the state of California than the entire country of Canada. So just keep that in mind. You've also got the inputs driving the results are what really matters, starting with the stories we chose to tell across motion pictures, series, docs, and specials. Our creative partners at the WarnerMedia team are extremely good at crafting the highest quality stories that resonate. And a lot of that is HBO. You had The Mayor of Easttown. You had what else came out this year that was a limited series, right? There was a few shows that came out, like White Lotus season
White
one.
Lotus, yeah.
That was a big one.
And they just
Um,
casted someone for season 2 recently. They just like
yeah,
put
I
it
saw
together.
that. Yeah, I saw that they're bringing in I forget who it was, but they're bringing in another person.
Someone
So
from The Sopranos, funny enough.
oh right, it's Michael Imperioli,
Yeah.
Imperioli.
Yep.
Yeah. I like him, so I'll be excited to see what happens with that. So going on to say here, we made the decision to release our 21 Warner Brothers slate in both theaters worldwide and in the US on HBO Max. I'm very proud of how the team pulled together to make this happen. We empowered customers by giving them a choice in the middle of a pandemic, and again, that really played out. That really played out. We ensured cinemas had a steady flow of 18 major motion pictures back to Wonder Woman 84, all supported with full marketing campaigns in the midst of a pandemic, while others were selling many of their films to streaming services and or removing them from the 2021 schedules, which is very true. Even though, what was it? Marvel movies made up 30% of all box office totals in 2021.
Yeah.
So
That's a lot.
only for like four movies. Going on to say we took a thoughtful risk and some understandable heat, and it has worked very well. Audiences have responded to the entire gamut of series, movies, documentaries, and specials we released throughout the year, alongside with an incredible library. Another big input has been getting our distribution footprint complete, plus strong execution on tech and product. So much effort and innovation been going into these areas. New apps released to Roku, PS5, and Samsung are recent examples. So excited for what's coming in 2022. And there was a lot of issues with HBO Max on different devices for a while. They did recently update those apps, and I have a Roku television with HBO Max. I also have a Samsung television with HBO Max, and they work pretty well on there. Going on to say here, we also added live sports across Brazil and Mexico, and that's a big market. That is a
Huge market.
big
Huge
market.
market. That's also kind of like with I think it's Disney Hotstar as well. It does like live sports with ESPN Plus,
Yeah.
and areas as well. So it's a big market for sports, especially in South America.
Oh yeah, 100%. It says here we launched an ad-supported version of HBO Max in the U.S., which allows people to proudly offer, or allows us to proudly offer a lower price option to fan. And that's actually, I mean, it doesn't include the day and date stuff, but there's a lot of other great content on HBO Max that's outside of just that. So getting all of that for just $10 a month, I mean, with some ads, it's kind of annoying, but it's not the end of the world. And then a final input dimension that contributed to these very strong HBO Max numbers is the aggressive expansion across the globe, which continues. We went from HBO Max being available in one country at the start of 2021 to ending with HBO Max being available in 46 countries, more coming. With HBO Max, we are successfully going direct to customers and going global. It's working. I'm so happy for this amazing team, which puts so much into delighting fans, audiences around the world each day. The team cares deeply for the mission. And then he goes on. This is what people were kind of talking about today. It says, I will close with the mention of just some of the releases we presented on HBO Max in 2021. I am biased when I say this, but I think it is remarkable to consider the caliber of storytelling, the storytelling talent that is represented here. And then it goes on to say, Last Week Tonight, Judas and the Black Messiah, Tom and Jerry, Real Time with Bill Maher, Tina, Zack Snyder's Justice League, Godzilla vs. Kong, Mortal Kombat. These are all relatively kind of in order too, right? Friends Reunion, Hacks in the Heights, The White Lotus, The F-Boy Island, Those Who Wish Me Dead, Space Jam, Dolores, The Truth About, okay, I know what the fuck that is. Gossip Girl, The Suicide Squad, Dune, Succession, Insecure. I mean, there's a lot there, right? Matrix Resurrections and Return to Hogwarts, which technically for the West Coast, technically released in very late 2021. So I mean, you can look at all this here and realize that HBO Max had a really solid year, and as a result of that, I don't necessarily see the merger really kind of having a lot of impact
Yeah.
on the storytelling, because obviously when it comes to what I believe Casey Bloys has been up to with the HBO side of things, what we're seeing is a lot of a very high quality, engrossing storytelling that does captivate an audience of people. That's why HBO has always kind of been like the predominant premium cable subscription model that has never really been matched by Showtime or Stars or Cinemax or Encore or whatever the fuck else was out there for a long period of time. So I'll be very kind of curious to see what exactly is going to be happening, because obviously at this point they're kind of gunning for Disney Plus, I think, and that's going to be very interesting as well when that actually finally does kind of come out. But what do you guys think about HBO Max over the course of the year? How do you think that's played out?
I think, like you said, it's been a very like successful, as Jason has pointed out, like that they have a very big caliber of great talent and great storytelling in the past year, and that they've been doing very well. They've been doing some great things internationally, so I can definitely see that HBO Max is doing successful, and Zaslav will see that, and they'll be like, okay, let's not do too much to screw this up, but let's add stuff that we know will help it even push even more, and to make it even more bigger and better, and because that's all you want is to make, when you're coming in to do this merger, you want everything to be bigger and better. And some things you will realize that some things aren't as successful, so those things will try to be, if it's if it's too big and you realize because it's too big, you need, that's why it's not doing so well, make it smaller. But obviously they'll know all that stuff, and obviously in these upcoming weeks there are obviously lawyer meetings and stuff like that.
And so, I think that ties into this right here. I think that ties in to the whole this story today, which I think is very fascinating, where Viacom, CBS.
I was surprised because like we've seen reports and stuff that like CW is a big stock in Viacom, CBS, and WarnerMedia, especially WarnerMedia. So maybe they're like, hey, the merger's coming up. We need to sell some things. And this is
I think they're also there's also not only that, but the television network model is dying. Yeah, there's literally no other way to put it. And I feel like the fact that a lot of people out there, I mean, we're seeing now upwards of 10 million people a year cut the cord, and over the course of a decade, that's gone up just, in 2010, it was like 1 million a year. Now it's like 10 million a year. People are just cutting the cord. They're not going back. And the CW has not really, I feel, been able to kind of expand its marketplace very well. A lot of the content there, I don't watch anything on CW anymore, like not a thing. I used to watch the Arrow shows, right? The Aeroverse stuff. And that just got to be so goddamn fucking cartoonish that it was never really worthwhile to check out. So let's see what it says here. The broadcast network, home to such shows like Batwoman and Walker. And notice how once also Supernatural is out of the way, right? Then they start looking to sell it. Is being shot by its corporate owners, Viacom and WarnerMedia. Multiple sources confirm. The Wall Street Journal first reported the news, saying that the local TV giant Nexstar is among the potential suitors. Nexstar, which owns 199 local TV stations as well as the cable channel News Nation and The Hill, is one of the largest owners of the CW stations. It isn't immediately clear whether Viacom, CBS, and WarnerMedia plan to sell the entire network or retain minority stakes. I mean, that could be something, right? Like they could probably keep because they're going to need to provide content for it, so they might as well at least kind of maintain some kind of minority stake in it. But here it says here, okay, so much of the revenue that is generated from the younger skewing network is from international and streaming sales for such scripted originals as The Flash and Dynasty. Now, remember, though, The Flash used to be on, as well as all the other Arrowverse shows, used to have a deal with Hulu because Warner Brothers owned a stock, a portion of Hulu. I think they only had 10%, but they put the shows on there.
It's like, and then I think it was Warner Brothers and Universal had 10%. Both of them had 10%, and then like
no, Universal had 30.
30? Oh,
yeah, because Comcast had 30. Because that's the split right now. Is
30
Disney's got 70. Like 70, and they got 30. And also the fact that the fact that by 2025, even like Comcast isn't going to have any of Hulu. Like Hulu in
No.
2025 is just going to be molded into Disney Plus. Like Hulu's
Yeah.
going to be gone in the next fucking 3 years
Yeah.
as a result of this stuff. But I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
Oh no, yeah, like it's like you're saying, like Hulu's not going to be apparent. So, after the buying of Fox with old 20, is it 20th century 20th? I can't remember on this. When Disney bought it, like all the people that had certain contracts with Hulu started to back out, and also weren't renewing their contracts. But I think Universal Comcast was like let's keep it, and then Comcast ain't gonna have it in like 2 to 3 years, so they're like, so Disney is gonna have to deal something with it. So maybe with them obviously jumping ship with these more adult and more oriented shows and more violent stuff for Marvel, Star Wars, and the original
Oh, yeah.
series, then
Well,
they're
that's kind of the whole
definitely gonna be
point.
yeah, they're gonna merge the two and be like, who is the section that you want to go to as that 18 plus.
Well,
So, yeah.
well, again, my whole point though is one of the things I made the comment on Twitter about this is the fact that like CBS still has the highest viewership numbers of all the network shows, of all the network channels. And that has a lot to do with like the boomer audience. And I don't say that like facetiously. I mean that like literally. The Big Bang Theory, when it was at its prime on CBS, we're talking like 20 million people watched a week.
Yeah.
So when you hear about like why the syndication rights and the streaming rights for that show went for $1 billion each, is because that's the value of that fucking show was that high. And so all the actors in that show never have to work ever again in their entire life. Like they are set. Their children are set, their grandchildren are set, their entire future generations are set basically because of the popularity of that show. My take on it though has always kind of been that in this take, once those people die, once those boomer audiences die off in the next, let's say 15, 20 years, maybe even less than that, those numbers are going to drop down. Those numbers are just going to plummet because again, it's all about the streaming game now are paying into this. You've got, WarnerMedia has HBO Max, which they are expanding with the Discovery merger, putting in a lot of that content. All the Discovery content will be on there, as well as whatever else they come up with. You have Paramount Plus, which is really looking to get into a very interesting game right now because they have a low price point and they're bringing back. They got all those South Park movies that are coming out. They've got the Beavis and Butthead show or movie that's coming later this year. They've got a bunch of content over there. You've got Peacock, which I still feel Peacock and Paramount Plus are probably going to merge together because I just don't see it doing well. I just don't see Peacock surviving. But really, with network television kicking the bucket in the way that it is, this is why it's going to happen here. So also says that the end of the Netflix output deal and loss of revenue from foreign sales created a larger concern. So the Netflix deal for all of those shows also ended. That's a big loss in finances right there. So we'll have to wait to see what's going on with that, right? Obviously, the viewership from 18 to 34, I would say is probably going to be better suited for fucking Netflix than anything else. We'll have to see. I don't know. I mean, like, look, anything can happen with this. But it's definitely kind of a wild thing if we're going to be seeing a bunch of these networks kind of get folded in. I mean, ABC is owned by Disney, so they've got the corporate backing, plus they do all the sports stuff with ESPN, so they're fine on cable. You've got NBC is owned by Comcast, again, a telecom company, not a problem. Even, what is it? What's the other ones out there? You've got CBS is Viacom. Okay, well, Viacom CBS, and they've already got enough of the market share. Fox is still owned, I think, by Fox, but Disney has the rights to the content that's on there. I don't see Fox lasting as long either. I think Fox might eventually, they might start pulling that content off of Fox. But then again, the amount of money The Simpsons makes from streaming and from syndication is massive. So I don't really see that changing. Although, oh, here's a fun thing. Did you guys know that there was actually a Simpsons standalone streaming service that was talked about a long time ago?
What?
Yeah, it was going to be called like Simpsons World or something. It was going to have like, at the time there was over 500 episodes that were there, right? So they were going to put like all of it was just going to be like whatever the cost would be for the Simpsons, and you would get like all access to all of the shows. And I, you know what, I would have bought that just to go through and rewatch everything. I'm waiting for my kids to get a little bit older before we start rewatching The Simpsons. Just to have them be a little bit older, you know, so they might understand it a bit more. You know, we watch Bob's Burgers in the Great North, and those have some kind of questionable elements sometimes. My kids don't get it, but I'm also like, I don't want you guys picking up on that. So we'll have to wait and see. But obviously I'm, you know, I think there's a lot going on with all this kind of stuff, and we'll have to wait and see. Degrassi here says CBS Sports provides pipelines for most professional sports teams. Yeah, I mean, that's the other thing too, is it's going to be sports, you know, and if they merge them all together, that's going to be probably the most fascinating aspect of it. So let me see here. There's a couple super chats to get to on this one. All right. Gailey here asks if I have seen Invincible. I have seen Invincible, and Invincible was awesome. In fact, there was actually a little thing today that popped up with this. According to Discussing Film, Stephen Yeun teased that although he hasn't started work on Invincible season 2 yet, that he talked to Robert Kirkman here and there. He's super excited about it. He thinks season 2 is going to be better than season 1. To which case I have to say, what the fuck do you mean you haven't started working on it yet? It's been practically a year. The fuck?
Exactly. That's what I thought of.
I'm like,
come on.
I'm so confused. I'm like, does it mean like he's almost about to start? Like, did he read a script? What's happening? What's going on? Is it like another thing where we're going to wait 2 years? Like, what the heck?
See, that's the biggest problem with streaming shows. It's like this, you know, by the time we get to Stranger Things season 4, it will be 3 years in between season 3 and season 4.
Yeah,
that's I mean,
great, dude. That's nuts. What?
That's basically after like that to me.
But
that's
COVID,
all like that's a bit unacceptable.
Well, I mean, COVID. I mean, all these were probably in production in. Well, at least Stranger Things got delayed by COVID for a while. So I don't know about Invincible. Invincible, I don't really think. I don't have
Invincible.
Any excuses. It's all animated and just voice acting. You don't all have to do it the same room. You could literally send the equipment to these the cast's house and just have.
Like, I think even the back half of season 1 was recorded at home.
Yeah.
Like,
but at least Stranger Things, like, I know, and there's been a lot of reports that it has been delayed for a long time because of COVID, and then eventually after a while, and we figured things out a little bit about COVID, then they came back into production. So basically just, yeah, COVID's pretty much the reason why, I would say.
Yeah, well, no, COVID makes sense, but going back to look at Invincible here, on April 29th of 2021, Amazon renewed the show for a second and third season. So, you know, so maybe that's what it is. Maybe he just made the mistake that he hasn't worked on, you know, that they're doing season 2 and season 3 back to back, perhaps. And maybe
that's the case.
I just, this show is still like, it's just probably like the premiere, you know, for storytelling, for violence, for all that shit. Out of everything I've seen in 2021, nothing prepared me for that fucking subway scene. Holy shit.
Oh my god.
Holy shit.
The first episode was just like, holy shit.
And then it was like, and you thought that was a lot. Nope. Boom.
Exactly.
It hit you in the face.
Yeah.
And
man, it was such a good show. Like the voice actors did such an amazing job, like portraying these characters, and oh man, it's a great show, and I'm so excited. And they have so much content to do with this show, like from the books and the comics. I think it was a comics, not book, but there's so much stuff they could do, and I know they barely even touched the surface with just this first season. So I'm interested to see if they like progress the story and tackle more throughout these seasons.
I don't know. I mean, like, I saw something today. Someone had talked about like a stepbrother storyline, which I don't know. I haven't read the comics, so I don't know. I just know there's a lot there to pull from.
I heard Step Brother and I was like, oh no, where's this going? And then
I know. Where is this going, right? Where is
Step
this? Is this like
Bro.
I was like,
Bizarro?
with Jarbo,
Superman's-
it can go anywhere.
No, what you doing, Step Bro? Invincible season 2. No,
What
I don't
you
know, man.
doing?
Like,
Yeah, I have seen it.
I'm excited for it. I loved Invincible. I need to watch it again, just because it was an amazing, that and The Boys. I mean, Amazon has been putting out a lot of top tier fire content in regards to
And
adult
then you have
themed.
Silk that still hasn't filmed or casted anything, which has been in development for 4 years at Amazon. So I think that thing's gonna get canned, honestly.
Well, I
because-
want to know what's going on with the fucking Fallout show over
That too.
over there.
Lord of the Rings
That too.
as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That dude Vince says 3 years between Orville seasons 2 and season 3. It's not. No, not. I mean, it would be 2.5 years. But yeah, I get you, man. I get you, because it kind of it season 2 was what 2018 20. Yeah. There was a long time there. I was at Comic-Con 2019 when they announced that Hulu season 3 was going to be going, or Orville season 3 was going to be going to Hulu. It just sucks that the pandemic hit and shut it all down. I mean, obviously, we're dealing with that. Dat Boy 22 here says Arcane season 2 won't be out for a couple of years. I mean, yeah, that makes sense. Anthony here says, they're making a movie about Invincible. Yeah, they're doing a live action version of it, which I don't even fucking want. I don't feel the need to get a live action version of that shit.
I think because the funny thing, they're both announced at the same time. The season, like the live action adaptation of Invincible and an animation adaptation of Invincible is happening, and then they fast tracked the animated series. Obviously, a season 1 last year, or was it last year? I forget. Yeah, that was last year. And then Robert Kirkman talked about the live action movie, and he was like, "Oh, it's gonna be completely different from the series. It's not canon for the series and all that." So I was like, "Okay." That's all we got so far, and then we obviously had the whole campaign for Ryan Potter and John Hamm as the father son Omni-Man, and I can't remember the kid's name, honestly. Oh my god, yeah, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So it's definitely interesting to see that development as well. Like, where is that going? Hopefully we hear something soon about that, because Mark is his name. But yeah, hopefully we hear something about that soon, honestly.
I'm hoping. I really like that.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Andrew says, look how long it took between seasons of Venture Bros and how long it took between seasons of the Newsroom. I think a lot of that though had to do with with the Newsroom. It kind of made sense because Aaron Sorkin wrote all the episodes and there was a lot of research there. But I also think a lot of it has to do with with the actors doing other jobs. Because when you do those kind of shows where, unless you're doing something like Game of Thrones, where everyone is locked in, I think other people do other work and whatever. And I don't know. I mean, I don't know how it all comes together, to be fair. I just kind of feel like if we're moving away from the network television style of things, I'm okay with between 8 and 13 episode seasons, provided that they happen more frequently. One a year is fine. I'm okay with that. But when it's you get 8 episodes once every 3.5 years and you're going to fucking like it. Dude, no. Between season 3 and season 4 of fucking Stranger Things, Sex Education has had 3 whole seasons. Sure, it's a lot easier to film that show as a comedy than it is to do something like Stranger Things, but it's okay, guys, at some point, these kids are not going to be kids. You're going to wrap up the entire series of Stranger Things, and 11 is going to be 30 years old and just chain smoking a pack a day.
5:30, they're all adults.
Yeah.
It's
hey, the fellow children.
20. I just turned 20, and I'm 30 years old.
Yeah. It's
Wait, what?
it's definitely.
You're 30 and you just turned 20? It's yeah, in the show, I just turned 20. It's
Well, Geeks here says, look at Rick and Morty. They take a long time. Well, that's true, but they also then signed that deal for the 70 episodes with Cartoon Network. So they're going to be churning them out a lot faster. You're going to get 10 episode seasons pretty quickly.
Did you guys know that Robert Kirkman is producing an American Werewolf in London remake with John Landis.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That should be fascinating. Also,
I
why
mean,
the
not John Landis, Max
fuck
Landis. Max Landis. John Landis is the 1980 script.
with Max Landis?
Yeah, Max Landis.
That cannot be happening still. Because, dude, you know
Yeah.
Max Landis got fucking canceled, right?
Yeah. So it's like, is this still happening? Like,
I mean, dude, Max Landis still has a YouTube channel. It's called Up to My Knees, and he streams like all the time. He'll just do like screenwriting like tips and like he'll do a whole bunch like he acts like nothing happened. I don't think he's ever going to work in Hollywood
I
again.
don't.
He doesn't need
Yeah.
to. Netflix paid $3 million for the screenplay to Bright. To buy the
Right.
rights to Bright, they just paid $3 million to Max Landis alone, and then he was going to be the architect of that whole cinematic universe thing. And then, you know, again, we I think we have to learn as like fans to like never get attached to shit. Like really, because so many
Yeah.
things get taken away from us because people are shitty and people are
It
terrible.
was gonna be about it was it's a remake obviously of the 1981, and it was just gonna be like Alex. She and her boyfriend go to the UK, and then she gets bit by a werewolf and all that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, like, dude, The American Werewolf in London is such a good classic film.
Yes.
And John Landis' dad directed it. So, but the thing is though, no one's talked about that movie in like a couple years now. It looks like
Yeah.
just looking it up on Screen Rant, they have an article here from August 25th, 2019 saying it's probably not going to happen and everything
Yeah.
else. I wouldn't be surprised if at some point they do figure out a way to bring it back, but
They're probably
again,
gonna bring it back because Robert Kirkman, obviously, he's a producer. And he's probably just gonna bring it to Amazon. He's probably like, "Here's a script that someone wrote for me. Boom, let's rewrite this.
Yeah.
and let's make this."
it's
movie."
it's by Dax Shandis. That's who it's by. It could be an assumed name. I don't know. Anthony here asks, so, do you think Superman and Lois and Stargirl Naomi will move to HBO Max? Yeah, 100%.
All of those DC TV shows will
I'll
move
just
to
say
HBO Max,
that-
and also after if like obviously if this next start thing goes through, then there's gonna be a major budget upgrade for some of the shows that didn't already have it.
I mean, that last show that was listed on that comment.
Oh, Naomi?
I posted it in the DM group, and I'm just like, the comments are just so brutal. Like, no one gives a crap about the show, and everyone's just like, yeah, it's gonna get canceled after one season. Don't worry about it. Don't even watch it. It's just gonna get canceled. So.
Well, yeah, Ava DuVernay, they is the one who's behind that, and I know that they did. What was it? They did, like, I think they greenlit up to season 2. I think, or they
Yeah.
gave her something with that.
They
But
gave her 2 seasons.
Yeah,
and a
I don't-
possible- And I think she said that season 3 is a possibility, and I think she said that she has this 5-season arc for this show. So
yeah,
Bro, wait, just get to season 1 and then talk about season 2, alright?
no, we're talking about Stargirl, not Supergirl. Did I say Supergirl? It was Stargirl is the one you guys are thinking of.
yeah,
So the Supergirl ended.
Supergirl ended because Melissa was pregnant, and among other things as well.
Probably because it also ran its fucking course.
Yeah, it ran.
So I think that's a fair.
A lot of these shows.
I think
Yeah, a lot of them kind of end up doing that.
I'm sure with them introducing Supergirl in the DCU also probably was like one of those things where it's like, yeah, one ran your course, and also this person's gonna be the highlight of this thing, so let's move you along.
You know what? I think the Arrowverse is kind of already kind of ran its course. To be fair, but going back to the super chats here, Rational here actually asked that what will happen to the Arrowverse after the CW sale? I'll go to HBO Max. Is what will happen.
Yeah.
If the thing is like
doesn't Warner Brothers own another channel?
I don't recall if they do. I'm sure that. Well, I know Warner Brothers
sure they,
Television
like, co-own-
licenses
Right.
a lot of content. Viacom CBS owns like MSNBC. No, it's MSNBC. They own
Well,
MTV
they own
and
CBS, MTV, BET, Nickelodeon, and like
I'm sure Warner's has
one
another.
of those like Food Network house thingies. So yeah, they own like quite a lot of channels.
Oh yeah. Rational here for $5 though. Thank you, buddy. Says Matt, now that WarnerMedia and Discovery are merging, will Guy Fieri, Dr. Pimple Popper, and the Property Brothers be in the new Multiverses game by Warner Brothers Games? Look, I know you're joking, but a DLC motherfucker. Like that's all. I honestly feel like DLC will be a thing.
Yeah.
We'll get a lot of that out of DLC. And that's going to be
Guy Fieri as Professor Pig, Property Brothers as Tweedledee and Tweedledum, Dr. Pimple Popper as Hugo Strange.
I don't fucking know. The Multiverses game just no.
Oh, the Multiverses.
Come on, the Multiverse of Flavor.
Oh my God.
That's going to be a special power.
Yes, they own TBS. They own TBS.
Oh, okay. TBS. Yeah, that's right. TBS.
So
and TNT, don't they? And TNT?
And TNT. Because I remember Times was supposed to go to TNT for like 5 years, and then they never went there. And then they went to HBX and DC Universe, and then HBX.
Well, that died.
Yeah, DC Universe is dead. Like
I know a lot.
Like, even though
it's
people use it for comics. Like, I don't even think
you can't even get it on the fucking app anymore.
No.
On my Roku, I had it, and I still keep the icon there because I did have it up. I wanted to kind of leave it just as like a sentimental thing because I did enjoy reading comics on the app. Right, I thought it worked really well.
I mean, I know they own CNN, but CNN ain't gonna like show like Naomi and the Flash on there.
No,
like
it's 2 a.m. on CNN.
Right.
And then you just hear like, "Hi, I'm Barry Allen, the fastest man alive."
Like what in the heck?
Oh yeah, no, I don't know what's gonna happen with that one there. Reed here asks, unrelated, but any spooky or interesting stories you guys have? Spooky or I mean, I got a lot of interesting stories as I've told multiple times on here. I can tell you guys a spooky one real quick. It's a short spooky one. So, when I lived in San Diego, I lived in a town called Lakeside. It was East County, San Diego, kind of out in the boonies a little bit. And we had a road. We had a road that led down to a reservoir, and it was known as 5-5, meaning 5.5 miles from the main road is what you drove down this long, windy road to get out to the gate leading into this reservoir. This place was generally a party place. This was a place where, you'd find a lot of local teens that would go out there and get hammered and do whatever the hell else. Because at the middle of the night, like no one's out there and you can kind of get away with whatever. If you guys remember when I showed off that hillbilly hunting movie that I did, the shitty one, we actually shot the first scene where we pulled the goth kid out of the truck. We shot that at 5-5 at like 3 o'clock in the morning, just randomly. And a lot of my friends kind of hung out there. And they'd get drunk. And so one night we go out there, and there's about 4 of us, myself included, and we cross down the little dry creek bed, go over the pallets and go back to this a bonfire area. There's a little area back there people would bonfire at. They had a rope swing. It was a known party area throughout town, but it was pitch black. It was just pitch black out. And we sat there and we're just talking and they were drinking. I wasn't drinking. That we're all smoking cigarettes. And then all of a sudden we hear this little sound to our left. We hear right. And then my friend Noah, the goth kid from that thing, and he just goes, "Everyone shut up. Like turn off your lights." So we all put out our cigarettes and we all turned off our lights and we just listen and we hear right crawling to the leaves and shit. And then literally like it goes silent for about maybe a few seconds. And then we hear now it's on the right side of us. And we're like, what the fuck? What the fuck happened? Did it fly? Is it a bat? Is it an owl? Like what's going on? I shit you not. Literally like 5 seconds later, the whole fucking area erupts like a windstorm went through there. Oh, the branches were moving, everything's flying around, it's all loud, it's crazy shit. Lasts for maybe a couple seconds and then dead fucking silence. And the 4 of us are sitting there going, what in the ever-loving fuck was that? Holy shit. Still not turning our light on, nothing. And then all of a sudden to our left of us we hear again. And we turn on the flashlight and just kind of scuttling away was a skunk. Not even making that up. That really fucking happened. I was sober.
What?
I was sober.
A skunk?
a skunk was like, 10 feet away from us, right? But then also, I was back at 5-5. I think it was, about a year or two later. And we took, I was with my buddy Marky, who was the guy who starred in most of my short films. And we were with a friend of mine from film school named Kristen. And we wanted to spook her. So we took her out to 5-5. And as you're driving out to 5-5, you always got to tell the story at 5-5, right? That the reason why it's haunted is because, there was a farmer that was going to go out there to commit suicide. And he had told his family that, that's where they could find his body. And the wife got in the car, put the kids in the car, raced out there. And there's like this 15-mile-an-hour turn, this real tight turn about halfway. And the story goes that she crashed the car into a tree, killing her and the kids. And that tree is known as the screaming tree. And if you scream at it, it will scream back. And one time I'm out there with another friend who was from Northern California, and I told him the story. And as we drove up to the screaming tree, like, I didn't think he was going to fucking do it. He rolled down the window and he yelled. He's like, ah, at the tree. And there was an owl that was right there. And the owl just went like flew like right at us and over the car and shit. So like, that was kind of weird. But anyway, I'm out there with Marky and Kristen, and we get out there. And the story ends with the farmer kills himself. So it's haunted because the farmer killed himself. The tree is haunted because the family is dead. That's the urban legend for this area. But we get out there, and again, we're all sober, and we're talking, and like, we're kind of telling her the story. And I'm not fucking kidding you. From in the forest, we hear a kid calling for his mom. Calling for his fucking mom.
Fuck that, dude.
I am not making that up.
Nope.
We're out there,
Speaking
and we
of
don't have
street,
flashlights. We just have like our Zippos, because we're out there fucking smoking, right? And so I'm like using my Zippo and shit, trying to like light my way. This is also dry brush. You have to be very careful too.
Oh,
And
That's
we
not
just hear this.
similar to
We
what
just
you're
hear this
saying.
kid go, "Mommy, where are you?" Right? We're all like, "Yo, you fucking hear that? Yo, dude, like, fuck that shit." We got in the car and we bailed, man.
Yeah.
So,
Dude.
No.
but I'll tell you this: you go out there in the daytime, which I've done,
Go get
and
the kid, Matt. Go get the kid.
no, fuck that shit. I've seen too many movies. I've seen
Yeah.
too many
Don't be
movies.
the white
Too many-
person in
too
the
many-
movie.
But the-
you
that's-
walk
but the-
away.
Don't be the white girl.
Don't be
Yeah.
the white girl.
Like, let's check
Don't
it
like-
out, guys. No.
No.
Like,
Yeah,
so, like,
yeah.
I have
No.
a very similar hunting story. And honestly, I fucking hate hunting in the morning simply because it's pitch fucking blackout. And if you're doing it in winter, it's even worse because you have to go out even earlier. And all you can see, you have to have a flashlight. If you turn it off, you're gonna run into something. Because we go out to
Oh my
like
God.
hours before the crack of dawn, and I usually take like an hour to 2 hour nap before even the sun comes up. So me and my uncle are walking to our stands, and all we hear is just the crunch of our feet going over the snow. And my uncle's just like, the last time I saw on the trail cam, there was a couple bears around here, and so. She's like, all right, I'm strapped. So if you hear or see a bear, you let me know, cause I'm gonna come over, and help you out. So what ended up happening is he goes to his stand, and I have to walk to mine, cause mine's farther. So I have to walk like probably like 600 to 700 feet, or more. It's like it's a fair distance away. And the whole time I just keep hearing like rustling around me, and I can't see shit. And I'm like, what the hell? And it's just, what the hell? And so when I finally get to my stand, I'm like freaked the hell out, because I'm like, I don't want to turn on my light because I don't know who the hell it is or what it is. I'm not going to turn on my light because it's going to be clear as day where I'm at. And I'm like, I'm trying to listen so I stand at my stand and don't even move. And I just try to listen for like footsteps or like crunches in the snow, and like it's completely dead silent, and then I just hear like heavy foots all around the stand. I'm just like, all right, fuck it. I climb up the stand and I just like sit there because I'm like, nope, I ain't trying to figure it out. I'm like, it was freaky because it's just like loud stomps. Like, is that a bear? What the hell is it? I can't see it even with the light.
Oh yeah, that's the thing I hate about living in the woods, because there are bears near me, and they do come down. I live at the edge of a forest, at the edge of a state forest, and so like they do come down. And I'm part of like the Nextdoor app for my neighborhood, And people just like, oh yeah, a bear came into my yard, and they're like a couple streets down, and a bear is just like chilling and shit. I'm like, fuck that, dude. Like
No, like
I'm so afraid I'm gonna die if I come across a bear. But I mean,
the
there's
funny
a lot.
thing is, in elementary, well, not middle school. In middle school, like I think it was like sixth grade history. We were learning about King Tut, and we were watching the King Tut's Curse documentary, and we're at the part when we were hearing all these people dying and getting cursed and stuff, and then we get a Dr. Kalufka is on campus type thing, like like, and someone's on campus, so lock up, turn off the lights, hide in the corner, or hide under your desk, whatever. And so we're like, okay, cool, like it's your standard, you think it's a drill or whatever, but like, and so then 5 minutes later we hear this scratching on our wall, like because we're like in this like duplex kind of building where it's like 2 rooms on the top and 2 rooms on the bottom and staircase, and the person, we heard someone's walking up the staircase scratching along the walls, but these walls are like probably like 3 feet like wide, or like thick, and it's like this weird scratchy like rocky wall. So we're just like, why? Like we're all like freaking out because we just watched one King Tut's Curse. We're in the dark room, we're little kids hearing this like scratching along the walls, and we hear someone bang on the door like this, and then we're just like and like we're like, okay, it's standard. And then we see someone walk by the window, and it doesn't even look like a teacher or anyone. It was like this like weirdly like thing walk by. And then 5 minutes pass, and then the actual teacher that goes up, walks up and walks by, knocks on the other door. Because we actually heard the knock on the other door, but the first time we didn't. So like that was weird, and we didn't even see the person walk by again. Walk by. We only saw one person walk, and then, so once we were able to leave the room, all of us were asking, like our friends on the other room was like, oh, did someone knock on your door like before the other person did? Did you see anyone walk by, just not knock or anything? And then they're like, no, we didn't. I was like, fuck, like we're like, all of us were like, that's King Tut. That was King Tut, or someone from that area is after us. So then I ask the police officer, and like there's like 2 police officers on campus. It was legit 2 kids from like this like college across the street, like this like weird college house, community college thing. These 2 kids from there who planted weed on campus were coming on campus. But they said they didn't even go up near us. Well, it was like, we know it was a teacher the second time, but the first one is still a mystery on who the heck like was that. Like it's like, dude. And it still boggles my brain today, like who was that? Like if it was a spirit, it was totally negative because it was scaring the hell out of us. But
there's a lot that our brains will fuck with us on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying, like dreams.
But it's like, the funny thing is, you can ask anyone in that class
so real
today and ask them about that, and they'll be like, yeah, I remember that. And I was just like, dude, like, what was that? Oh my god.
Yeah. I had like things with dreams that like they feel so real that it's just like,
I
what
hate
the
those
fuck?
dreams.
Like I had a dream I still remember from elementary school because it's still like is so weird. I still can't even figure out what the hell it was about. But it was so detailed and so freaky. And it's like, how the hell did I have a dream about this in elementary school when, like, I don't even have these concepts in my head.
Right.
It's wild. It's like, what the hell?
There's this one dream that was a recurring dream when I was like 5 to 10. And it was like a certain day, and we were like, me and my family were driving. And then, funny thing enough, is when I was 15, that exact dream happened in real life. I was like, dude, what the heck? What the heck is going on?
Oh yeah, no, there's I haven't had any like dreams like that, I don't think. No, I had one actually. No, I the other day I had a nap, and I took a nap, and my dream was like a True Detective season played out in my dreams. It just felt like really like real. I was like trying to figure out like what happened to this person. I like the details are really clear when I woke up, but then like within 5 minutes they were gone, you know. And I should have written it down. It was a good idea. But anyway, there was another couple super chats there. Quickly here to get to. H bars for 5 bones. Thank you, buddy. It says The Warrior is a great HBO Max show, but the third season won't be out to 2023, and the last season was 2020. Damn, I don't like that shit.
So funny. Hold on, before you get to the next thing, Grace just tweeted out something about Fallout, like just now.
Oh,
Yeah.
finally!
Like,
God damn!
we were
Finally,
just talking about it. I think she's watching this, guys. She's watching this.
you know what? I'm watched and hated by a lot of people, so that's okay. That's nuts though, man. Like I am so fucking pumped for that. I know that Westworld is a big deal, and people are like, you know, that's the thing. I haven't seen past season 1 of that show. I should give it a watch on HBO Max before I cancel my service. But also real quick here, H bars did say Matt Jarbo is the new Mr. Nightmare. I don't know who that is, but thank you.
I have another story, but that where so I was
Well,
thinking,
there's still some more stuff to get to,
Okay.
so we'll have to hold off on that one for a while.
Yeah,
I
okay.
know I've got like a
we've
grip.
gone on a weird story.
Yeah, I should have held that one for the fucking end.
Yeah.
I should have held that one for the end. But no, it's all good there. But did you guys hear this one the other day? We kind of mentioned it briefly. Michael Keaton actually finally talks about how he clashed over the Batman tone, which is what made him exit the role after doing
Returns.
after doing Batman Returns. And that's definitely something, because I know a lot of people out there were really bummed when he stepped down from the role. And I thought Val Kilmer did a good job. I liked Val Kilmer in the role quite a bit.
Because I remember, like, before Schumacher came in, I know that Burton's plans for the third one was going to introduce Robin, and it was going to be Ron Wayne's. And I was like,
so much so that he still gets residuals.
Yeah, he still gets residuals for this one, for Batman Forever.
Yeah, like how the fuck did, like, imagine that, like you get brought in for screen testing, and then all of a sudden they're like, well, we're gonna go with a white guy. Thank you for your service. And he's like, all right, well, I still get money, you know. And then you just like literally like hang out. I mean, can we all get that? That'd be great.
I know. And I was just thinking, like I wonder if, like, did he film something for the Flash? Like, I was like, because he's in the comic of Batman '89 right now as Winston, Tim Winston or Dick Winston, something weird like that. I think it's Winston. I don't know. But yeah, the Batman '89 comic basically introduced his version of Robin, in the movie. I mean, in the comic.
At this point, I just want them to make Carrie Kelly canon. You know,
Carrie
like
Kelly, yeah.
could we get a Dark Knight Returns with Michael Keaton in the role?
Right.
If we got a Dark Knight Returns with Michael Keaton in the role, that'd be fucking sick. But
I know that Zach wanted it to be Ben, but I think Ben's too young to honestly be that.
Well,
that version.
and Ben ain't coming back. I don't think that's gonna happen. Like, I get it. I support his decision, but you know, that whole he would do it for Zach. I don't know, man. Like, there's a lot that you would probably do for your friends, but at the same time, whatever.
I think there's some integrity that he still has for himself, where he's like, yeah, those last two things. One, yeah, I was doing for a friend, and it was an unfinished product, so obviously I'm going to finish it. And two, my character's unfinished, so let me finish this with one last little thing.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, when the Flash, like, oh god, I don't even want to get into what was said earlier today. I did read that document that was that you posted. I just don't want to go into it. All right, but it says here, Keaton says that he walked away during the development of Batman Forever, which saw Joel Schumacher taking over directorial duties from Tim Burton. Schumacher and Keaton clash over the lighter, more campy tone. Keaton did not want to give up the darker feel of Burton's films, and as the actor recently discussed, saying here, it was always Bruce Wayne. It was never Batman. Keaton said of what drew him to the comic book role. To me, I know the name of the movie is Batman. and it's hugely iconic and very cool and culturally iconic because of Tim Burton, artistically iconic. I knew it from the get-go, or I knew from the get-go it was Bruce Wayne. That was the secret. I never talked about it. Batman does this. And I kept thinking to myself, y'all thinking wrong here. Bruce Wayne, what kind of person does that? Who becomes that? When the director who directed the third one said, when the director who directed the third one, I said, I just can't do it. And one of the reasons I couldn't do it was, and he's a nice enough man. He passed away, so I wouldn't speak ill of him even if he were alive. He at one point, after more than a couple of meetings where I kept trying to rationalize doing it and hopefully talking him into saying, I think we won't go in this direction. I think we should go in this direction. And he wasn't going to budge. And so then Keaton told Schumacher he could no longer play Batman if the tone of the movie was moving away from the dark nature of the Burton films. And Schumacher allegedly told Keaton, I don't understand why everything has to be so dark and everything so sad. To which case Keaton responded, wait a minute. Do you know how this guy got to be Batman? Have you read? I mean, it's pretty simple.
I mean, yeah. If like, like he says, if, dead or alive, don't speak ill will of people. But like, Schumacher was definitely one of those people where I was like, he's like, wait a minute, like, do you know how Bruce, like, it's all about Bruce Wayne and how he became this thing, and that thing that he becomes is a dark and sad idol. It's not, something to be like all happy and joyous about, like, oh yeah, I'm Batman, I punch people, and the reason why I become a Batman is because my parents died. Yay, my parents died. Like, what? Like, why are you like joyful and happy? But then again, I understand that there's also this thing that, where, Schumacher was probably trying to do, where it's not as lighthearted as.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think Keaton, to be fair, I don't think Keaton would have fit the mold of Batman Forever.
He wouldn't. I don't think
but Kilmer did a great job. Yeah.
He doesn't fit Schumacher.
No, he doesn't.
The great thing about the Batman 89 Batman Returns is that there was such a good pairing between Burton and Keaton, where I think if you replace that Burton aesthetic with, someone else who doesn't understand the Burton aesthetic or doesn't really look at the Burton aesthetic and has their own aesthetic that they would like to input. And Schumacher is the person that inputs their own aesthetic and didn't really care about previous aesthetics and came in and did his own thing. And his aesthetic didn't fit that Burton verse and Keaton's idea of Batman. And it's a good thing that Keaton stepped down and Kilmer came in, because it gave us a new take. Do I agree with the take? No. But it's a different take, and Kilmer did good. And I, wish that we saw it in a better light, but,
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, I get all that stuff. Man. But hey, you know what though? At least we're going to see him again, and we're going to get a bit more of him.
Yeah.
Which is going to be okay. Reed here is asking, should we do Chud Watch? You know what, man? I'm a little tired tonight. My girlfriend's been still recovering from the booster shot. She's on day 2. It's really messed her up. So I've been doing double duty with the kids, so I'm kind of exhausted. So I think I'm probably just going to wrap it up here in a minute so I can go get a little bit extra sleep. Because my sleep schedule is fucked, dude. I stay up to like 3 o'clock in the morning, so I just naturally up that, and I get up at 7, and then I nap a little bit in the afternoon, so I don't get like that much solid sleep, and I need to. Let's see. Anthony here asks, do you want to see Keaton get his 3rd Batman movie? They did make a suit for him. No, he's 70 years old, dude. Like, he's 70 years old. Like,
I think he understands at his age that he can't do a solo outing. That's why I think he's perfectly fine being like the Hollywood Reporter article described him this Nick Fury role, a mentor role.
Yeah.
So yeah.
No, I'm fine. Look, the thing is, man, like I'm just going to be happy to see him back, and that's going to be a lot of fun. I don't know what they plan on doing with the Flash. I don't have a lot of high hopes for it, to be honest with you. I think it's taking on too much. I think it's at a point where it has a lot to live up to, and it simply may not be able to live up to it. And so as a result, we're just going to kind of have to wait and see. The first trailer should give us an indication. Obviously, there's reshoots going on in the next couple months, I believe. I think in April, they're doing a pretty decent set of reshoots. But if the director's cut of the first pass isn't done yet, then they don't really know what's going to be in the reshoots yet, you know? Well, I mean, sure, people have watched it internally. Editors have been working on it every day to put it together. So obviously there is that. Obviously, you know, they have an idea for what they want to do. We'll just have to wait and see. And I agree with Resident Injustice here. The third movie should be Batman Beyond with Terry McGinnis. As simple as that. I completely agree. RJ. You know.
Say it again.
Oh, the third movie should be Batman Beyond with Terry McGinnis.
Yeah, I wish and hope, and that kind of like that if they do a Batman Beyond movie, that it's with Keaton. I hope it's like set in the Burtonverse and it's before the Flash events.
Yeah,
you know, where it's like, and so then when he leaves, like we know the reason why he leaves that Earth, so he's leaving in good hands with Terry, and Terry's like an actual Batman Beyond where he doesn't need Bruce anymore. Like that would be a cool storyline to see, like at least start that out and then be like, oh, Batman Beyond, and this is like 5 years of him being Batman Beyond, and then that's like he's like Bruce sees that, oh yeah, I can leave you. I can leave and know that Gotham and this Earth is in good hands.
Yeah. No, I think we'll have to wait and see. I don't know what they plan on doing. Again, I really do feel hold on, what happens if the Flash movie is actually really good, even if it erases or sets stuff up for a future without Zackisms? I mean, if look,
Zackisms.
So you're gonna have your people that are gonna outright attack it, you know, and the people that
have two endings.
I'm sure. Look, I'm sure they've, you know, the multiple endings.
I think happen. The multiple endings, because it happened with The Way Home, but it wasn't like it was filmed multiple endings. It was just that scripts had multiple endings. The same with Endgame. They had one ending, and then the only person that had the funeral one was RDJ and Gwyneth Paltrow, and the Brewster brothers. So, like, they do that with scripts. They write multiple endings, so that nobody, if someone leaks the ending, they know who, and it's the real ending. They know who's who the real ending, or who's the leaker. No. Who, if they release the real ending, they know who the leaker is. If they release one of the fake ones, they're like, okay, whatever, it doesn't matter. Because I remember one of the fake endings for No Way Home was like a rehash of Iron Man 1, where it was like basically Peter saying, I am Spider-Man or whatever. And it was like, so it was like something like that.
Yeah, I mean, again, I don't know how much of this stuff I don't really pay a lot of attention to it anymore, just because it's kind of like, you know what, if we're not going to see it I care about what we see. And I think that's maybe part of the bigger problem here with 2020 and 2021 has been with us leaks. It's about what we haven't seen versus what we get to see, you know. But yet I've been watching, like I watched a channel tonight called Cinema Therapy, which I actually kind of like, and they talked about Luca, and they did this video about Luca, and I was like, yeah, it's good stuff, man. Like it's a good kind of just like breakdown to the psychology of that movie. And I like those conversations a lot more than just like, you know, guys, we may get this, it's I don't know, plausible deniability with the scoop game. And I think maybe that's why. Maybe that's why I'm so frustrated, is because the the scoopers at this point know that the next Spider-Man No Way Home is going to be the merger. Like that's the next thing. I don't know, but I think on that note, guys, I'm gonna wrap it up because I want to get to bed, and everything else. Kind of a more chill night, kind of a chiller night. So no, Watcher, I'm not ignoring you. I saw RJ's first. I'm sorry, buddy. I'm not ignoring you, but tomorrow night, depending on how things go, because we're gonna be in a bit of a slump for the rest of the month. I think not a lot happens in January, provided nothing.
Next week we have Peacemaker and Scream 5.
Oh yeah, that's gonna yeah. And then I mean, well, what I mean is like new stuff. There's definitely stuff
Yeah.
to watch. So
Yeah,
that's gonna be
stuff
good.
to watch, but new stuff, yeah, this week has been pretty bare.
Oh yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I think on that note, guys, I'm going to dip out. If you guys haven't already, please feel free to leave a like. You know, we got about 90 people in here with 30 likes. We can do better than that. I like that. I like to think that. And thank you all for your support tonight. Really appreciate it. Have yourself a great one, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow for another episode of Hollywood After Dark.